Welcome to the Ace Capone Show. All the stuff that I usually say, but anyway, hit that like button, share, comment, and if you want to contribute, I have Cash App, my PayPal, and Buy Me a Coffee down below. But let's jump into it. There was a shooting down in Texas last night and at a bar, and the suspect, it was a gentleman who is a naturalized citizen. We have allowed so many people into this country, we don't know who they are, where they're from, or how they feel about America. This is why we should not allow unfettered immigration in this country. I understand people want to use emotional appeals to tell you, oh my God, these people come from terrible countries where they're oppressed. That's not my problem. You can be oppressed in your own country, but when you come to my country and you hate it, and you hate the citizens, and you commit atrocities such as mass shootings or bombings, and you have manifestos where you tell people that you hate America and you want to mete out punishment upon American people who have done nothing to you, I have a problem with that. There's no way you should be out in America, roaming around, committing crimes, hurting American people without any type of recourse. This is why it's important to get people to come through the proper channels to become a citizen in this country. Sob stories don't help anyone. If you're a liberal, sob stories mean everything to you. Facts don't. The facts are these people are here, they commit crimes, they hurt Americans, they don't get punished. What is supposed to be this guy's punishment? Aside from him offing himself, how do you make the people and their families who are harmed, how do you make them whole? It's impossible. But let's take a look at this shooting. Obviously they were having
First of all, thank you for being here this morning. There was, as everybody is now aware, a very significant incident on West 6th Street. We're going to have a briefing from the chiefs, as was just indicated to you. I want to say first, before I bring up Chief Davis, that I'm very thankful for the speed with which our public safety officials responded to this. I don't think there's any question that it saved lives. In fact, Chief Luckress will tell you about how quickly we were providing, his folks were providing help and aid to people, and that made a difference. But also our police officers who so rapidly responded and handled this situation. What we will do, and I'll mention this again a little bit later, but what we will do is get a briefing right now to get information to you. And then during the course of the day, as we continue this, we will, on a regular and routine basis, provide you additional information. So with that, I'm going to ask our police chief, Chief Davis, to come up.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to start by saying my condolences to those that have been touched by this. This is a tragic, tragic incident. I want to start by saying how fortunate we were. If you imagine all of the resources that APD has on East 6th Street on the weekend, and fortunately those resources, after the bars were closing, were able to rapidly move here. Chief Luckress will have more on that response, a co-response, but we were here rapidly due to that. This incident started with, again, that calls for a male shooting at Buford's Bar on West 6th Street. Officers immediately transitioned, came over East 6th to West 6th Street, and were faced with the individual with the gun, and 3 of our officers returned fire, killing the suspect. Again, as the mayor said, this is a situation that we are going to be talking about probably all day. and all of you have many questions, as do we. Our federal partners are here, as well as others, and this will be a scene that will take several hours to process. And so I ask for your patience, but again, we will get as much information as quickly as we can to you. At this point, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Chief Lefferts.
Good morning. Thank you, Chief Dazis. Just to echo as well our condolences to everyone that was involved in this. From an EMS perspective, this was a very active scene. As many of you know, we have paramedics that are embedded in the entertainment district and with the Austin Police Department on the weekends. We received the call at 1:59 a.m. and within 57 seconds, the first paramedics and officers were on scene actively treating the patients. We had a total of 17 patients on the scene. 14 of those were transported to the hospital. 3 were pronounced dead on scene. Of the 14 patients who were transported to the hospital, 3 were in critical condition. As I said, our condolences go out to everyone that was involved, and we'll be back with more information in the future. I'll turn it back over to the mayor.
Thank you, Chief. As has been indicated, our hearts go out to the people that are victims of this, and I want to again reiterate my thanks to our public safety officers and officials that so rapidly were on the scene. They definitely saved lives. And as I've indicated, what we will do is during the course of the day, we will inform you about when we will provide additional briefings. This is ongoing, and we will give you as much information as we can throughout the day. So please follow us, and we'll keep you up to date.
And there you have it. That was a weird group of people. I'm not going to lie. But this is what you get when you have people who aren't assimilated into your culture. This guy has had run-ins with the police while he was in New York, and he moved to Texas. And all of a sudden, through, who knows, social media, people like CNN or MSNBC, because no matter what this administration does, they are always on the negative end, and they're always on the side of the opposition. These people love hating Donald Trump. They love hating our laws. They love hating the American people. If you aren't a leftist, socialist, Marxist, communist, they hate you. I'm just going to be absolutely honest. They hate you. If you aren't on their agenda, where you're sitting here denouncing America, saying that America is not the place they want it to be. It's not about America being what it is. It's what they want it to be. They want it to be a socialist country. They hate capitalism. They love the benefits of capitalism, but they hate the institution of capitalism. They want all the money, but they don't want the freedoms that come along with it. They don't want to be able to censor what you say. They want to be able to tell you where you can and can't go. It's like this is an elite club, and they want to be the owners of it. They want to be able to say, hey, this is our thing. You guys are just visiting. And this is what you get when you're dealing with these leftists. You know, thoughts and prayers out to the people who suffered and their families. And this is a tragedy, but in the wake of everything that's going on, this is a byproduct of the attack on Iran. And we have a president who took the time to do the bidding of the Zionists. You know, there could have been a better diplomatic way. You know, some people say, well, you know, they were building missiles. So what? They already have missiles. They have tens of thousands of missiles. We're not going to stop their building right now because they already have them. The thing is, right now, is like we should have said, you know what? Hey, sanctions aren't working. We can say we'll meet in the middle on something. We'll come to a compromise. We don't want to go to war with you, but if we do go to war, we're going to hit you hard. And you don't want that. And you're making us get to the point where I'm just going to hit you. But when you say that Israel in U.S., they're not even calling it an Israeli strike. It's like Israeli U.S. strike, meaning that they're covering for Israel, even though Israel is leading us by the nose and we're doing their bidding. You know, there was a downing of a plane today. They said it was a U.S. Israeli plane. Israel didn't buy our planes. They don't own our planes. So why are you calling it a U.S. Israeli plane? It's just, this whole thing stinks. And being that you understand that Joe Biden let people into this country, you have sleeper cells all over this country. You don't know when they're going to act up. You don't know where they're going to act up. Everyone should be on high alert in America. You don't know who these people are. You don't know where they live. You don't know what their intentions are. But when you have these radicalized lunatics in your country, the probability of bad things happening right now in America, you should be on high alert. Anything can happen anywhere. Be alert, be aware of your surroundings, be aware of the people around you. If it doesn't look right, hey, be on alert. Watch that person. I'm not gonna sugarcoat anything. If it were me, I'm watching exits. I'm watching the people coming in. I'm watching the people leaving. I want to know if they left something, if they're leaving, because people will bomb you. They will shoot you. As this lunatic went into a club where people were having fun and opened fire on people. They don't care. Everyone wants to be a martyr because in their eyes, their death is a badge of honor. Your death, who cares? But in the other news, Iran, there was a report that troops were killed, and 3 U.S. troops were killed, and 5 others seriously wounded during the U.S. Attacks on Iran. The military announced Sunday, marking the first American casualties in a major offensive that President Donald Trump said could likely lead to more losses in the coming weeks. You know, these guys are making such a big deal. And I'm not trying to marginalize any loss of American life or any loss of life anywhere. But they're going to harp on any loss of life, even though Trump was successful in the taking out of the supreme leader. And he wants regime change. And if I'm not mistaken, the gentleman who was supposed to secede, who was supposed to take over for the Ayatollah, has now been killed as well. So when you start taking out the leadership, people are going to have to come to the table. You know, Trump is a beast. I don't care what anyone says. He's going to go down in history as the guy who got things done. But back to these service members. The U.S. Central Command, which oversees the Middle East, announced the deaths in a post on X, but did not say when and where they occurred, because you don't need to know. As the Islamic Republic retaliates over the joint strikes by the U.S. and Israel, the post said several others sustained minor shrapnel injuries and concussions and were going to return to duty. We pray for the full recovery of the wounded and send our immense love and eternal gratitude to the families of the fallen, Trump said in a video posted to his Truth Social platform on Sunday. And sadly, there will likely be more before this ends. That's the way it is, likely be more, but we'll do everything possible where that won't be the case. Yeah. It also says in the roughly 6-minute video, Trump called those true American patriots who have made the ultimate sacrifice for our nation, even as we continue the righteous mission for which they gave their lives. He said, the U.S. will avenge their deaths. And I cannot disagree more. You know, I'm not a sycophant for Donald Trump. I'm not one who says, "Ooh, I'm getting favors for endorsing it or saying Trump's my guy." I've always been a Trump guy from the time he came down the golden escalator. I've been on the Trump train, but I think that even though this was successful in taking out the leadership, I still say it could have been done differently. Two things can be true at the same time. I admire the fact that our military is strategic and precise to get rid of people. And they did it. I think they did it in the first strike. But the fact that you got rid of them caused chaos. And now you have people that are in charge of the weapons in Iran that are just shooting missiles off everywhere. In other attacks, Iran retaliated, and there was a couple of missiles. And they said, okay, we defended ourselves. We retaliated. We have saved face. Now they're just bombing everybody. They're bombing our bases. They're bombing the people in the region. They're bombing our allies. They're trying to bomb the Brits. And who knows how long this is going to go on? Until someone comes to the table and say, hey, okay, we've done enough to save face with the people, because I'm sure the people of Iran who are still loyal to their country and to their leadership, they want to see something happen. They want to say, hey, stand up for ourselves. We're not lackeys. We're going to stand up for ourselves. We're going to strike back. But how long is that going to take? A week of this? So people can say, hey, we did our best. We killed some Americans. We showed everyone that, hey, we're not going to be pushed around. Well, how long does that take? Okay, give them a week. Then they're going to come to the table. And then after, we've said, hey, we've killed your leadership. We need you to stop with your nuclear ambitions and also your long-range missiles. If they could go back to the deal they had before, where Russia said, hey, we'll take all of your nuclear waste off site. I know they didn't want to do that, but that has to be in the bargaining, because you can't say you're not going to enrich uranium to weapons grade and just take your word. We're going to have some safeguards in there to say, okay, we have inspectors. We have people that are going to take your waste off site. Once you get a uranium, I think they said 60%, we'll take it off site. You can have your reactors for energy, fair enough, but weapons grade, no. But we'll see what happens. I think Trump is on a slippery slope right now. As I said before, I support him. But I also have to say, hey, he's on a slippery slope right now. He's either going to fall off on the edge of greatness, or he's going to fall off on the edge of disaster. And I hope it's on the side of greatness, because right now, when people start dying, people get really, really irritated, and they start to get upset, and they start to say, hey, it's your fault. And then they turn on the party in charge. And right now, I don't think he can afford that. The midterms are coming up, and the Democrats are jumping all over this thing. They will not let a crisis go unused. They will milk this thing for all they can. Even though you did a good thing with Maduro, even though you did a good thing with the Ayatollah, you are a man of action, and you have people in the streets of America, Iran, and all around the world celebrating this act. The liberals don't see it that way. They see it as, hey, you said you weren't going to get into a war. And the longer this thing goes on, they're going to say, he's in a war. We don't want that. He lied to you. He needs to go, and everybody around him. You've given them ammunition to attack you. It's not good. He best hope for an end to this thing where everyone can agree to a compromise that says, hey, you know what? We lost. We have a new leader. Please don't put that puppet in there because they're going to revolt. You put the ousted leadership back into power, the people are going to revolt. They're going to see them as traitors. You need to get someone in Iran that the people love and trust and will compromise with America. Someone that's progressive. But you can't stick that old leadership back into power because they're going to see them as puppets for America in the West, and they're going to turn on them, and you're just going to have chaos in that country. Also, I said that the Iranian leadership, let me find this here. He was killed in a strike, blah, blah, blah. New Israeli. They are now, as I said before, they're striking out at all of the allies and also the people in the region because they're holding everyone accountable. And this is from the Supreme Leader. I've been trying to find the report of the new leader being taken out, but the mainstream media isn't going to give it to me. I saw it on Truth Social. The president made a statement, but they aren't following up. I guess they want to sit on it. Maybe it's good for tomorrow, because right now they're not showing it. So when I find it, I will come back and we'll talk about it. And I'm sorry, I apologize for not being able to find it. But on that note, drop me a line. Let me know what you think about this situation. Let me know what you think we should do about it. And until then, this is your boy Ace Capone. Peace. And I'm gone.